Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Korudo here, and it's 2011. We've all enjoyed all the games from 2010. I know I did. Man, there were just way too many awesome games this year that I really couldn't afford them. But let's not focus on what didn't happen, and let's focus on what did. And I'm doing a games I completed in 2010 list. I have 20 games here that I beat in 2010, and there are a few rules for it. Rule number 1. The main game must be completed, and the ending credits have to roll for it to count. Number 2. For fighting games, complete the main story mode. If there is no main story mode, beat arcade mode with all characters instead. Rule number 3. Since the main game has to be completed, extra missions and levels are not necessary. Rule number 4. It has to be a game completed in 2010 for the first time. Replayed games don't count. This was inspired by games completed in 2009 from Steps to Death. She basically showed off a bunch of games she beat, and I thought at that time, hey, you know, I think that'd be a lot of fun to do for 2010. But I'm going to take it a step further and do post-completion impressions, or mini reviews, if you will. I wouldn't call them full reviews simply because I'm just talking about them. I'm not judging them on any level except the personal one. So, I hope you enjoy. House of the Dead Overkill for the Wii. Now, if you wanted to get any light gun shooter for the Wii, and you love B-movie humor, get this game. It's a lot of fun. I think in 2010, this had the record for most swear words in a video game, so that's one thing. But if you liked House of the Dead or any kind of rail arcade shooter, this is the one to get. And it's just over the top and hilarious. Great times. Final Fantasy IV for the DS. Now, I gotta admit, I missed this growing up. I was more of a Sega kid, and I didn't play Final Fantasy II, or Final Fantasy IV, on the Super Nintendo. So, I really didn't have much of an opinion of it going in. But I'm really glad I got this. And it was definitely the hardest Final Fantasy game I played, because a lot of the bosses require you to be at higher level, as well as all the counters they did. There'd be magic counters, just a lot of retries. But I thought the story was pretty okay. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't played it. But I just thought it was a really great adventure, and that was the whole point. Alright, Mega Man Powered Up. My very first PSP game. I got this back in February. And really, this along with one other game, is the reason I got a PSP in the first place. It's a remake of Mega Man 1 on PSP, and what really drew me to this, that you can play as all 6 of the bosses, in addition to 2 new bosses included in this game, and 2 hidden characters. So, what? The grand total of 10, 11 playable characters. And there were custom levels you can make or download for yourself. And I'm really looking forward to see how Mega Man Universe is going to take the ideas this started and incorporate itself into it. Now, I can't obviously show you the physical copy because it's Mega Man 10 for WiiWare. Alright, back in March, or late February rather, I was going to do the March Gamers Challenge, hosted by Peanut Butter Gamer. See how many games we could complete in March. But unfortunately for me, or fortunately, this took up most of the time, along with one other game in this list. And this is probably one of my favorite recent Mega Man games. And let me explain why. It took what Mega Man 9 did and improved upon it. For one thing, if you're using the classic controller, you can use the buttons, the shoulder buttons, to scroll through which weapon you want, opposed to doing the Mega Man 2 style NES games. You pause, go to the menu, select the weapon you want, unpause. Ever since Mega Man X, come on, use the shoulder buttons. And I was really happy that with if you use the Wii Remote held sideways, you can use the A and B buttons to do that as well. So you have the D-pad here, you have the 1 and 2 buttons here, and you have A and B to switch. I thought that was really well done. As well as the bosses are great. I did a Let's Play of it. It was a lot of fun. And Proto Man was available from the start, and the downloadable content this time was really worth it. It was awesome. Instead of just... I did not like the special stage in Mega Man 9, but in Mega Man 10, the 3 special stages were really worth it. Kingdom Hearts, Rechain of Memories. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when Kingdom Hearts came out on the Game Boy Advance, this was not at all what I expected. I kind of wanted a portable Kingdom Hearts adventure, and I ended up getting some kind of strategy card game. I mean, yeah, it was still an action RPG, but you had to use a bit more tactics, and Kingdom Hearts, I hate to say it, is a lot about button mashing for the most part. But I think this game kind of balanced that out a little bit more because you can roam in 3D space. There were cutscenes with voice acting, and it was just, I think this was the game that it should have been in 2003. Red Steel 2 for the Wii. Now, I've been looking forward to this game ever since I heard about it. You have a Western setting with samurais. So, come on, you got gunslinger revolver types, and you got katanas that you can switch between on the fly. What's not to like about that? And it's done even better because it was bundled with the Wii Motion Plus. And really, that's the reason I got a Wii Motion Plus. In fact, well, I got the bundle. But this game is, while short, it's really fun. It's just one of those games you get up and you do exactly what you want to do. You aim at the screen with the Wii Remote and shoot with the B button trigger, and you can switch by swinging the sword. And depending how hard or what angle you swing at, you do different things. It's a vast improvement over the first. While I don't actually own the first one, I've played it, and this is just way better. I highly recommend this game. Alright, Cave Story for PC Freeware, and later WiiWare. Alright, well, I went all these years without knowing about this game. It was basically this one guy who called himself Pixel on the internet. He created this game from scratch. The sound, the graphics, the gameplay, everything. From what I heard, he just took random sound bites and put them together to make them sound good. In other words, he didn't have any kind of composing experience. He just kind of went with it. And considering how memorable a lot of the music is in the game, that's really impressive. And I played this on the PC using just the keyboard, and when I heard of the WiiWare release, I jumped on it because, well, I want to support this guy who's been offering this free for years, as well as playing it on a big TV with a controller. And this is a really fantastic game. And now it's out for DSiWare, so anybody who likes action platformers, I highly recommend it. The game I borrowed from my friend, God of War: Chains of Olympus, on the PSP. Well, I gotta admit, I was a little bit skeptical about this. I didn't really think that God of War would translate into its own experience on the PSP. I kind of thought it would just be, portable God of War. And, that would be fine. It'd be like a port. But, to my surprise and my delight, this game turned out to be fantastic in its own right. Even if you didn't have the other God of War games, since it's a prequel, it really stands on its own two legs just fine. Really great game. And I'll be looking forward to playing Ghosts of Sparta whenever I get around to it. Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker for GameCube. Okay, since I didn't have a GameCube, I had a PS2. I missed this, and I was just really glad that I got a chance to play it on the Wii. Now I have a GameCube, so I can play it again on that. But this was the successor to Ocarina of Time on the N64, and Majora's Mask as well. And there seems to be a lot of a split reception between this game. A lot of people love the charming new style, and a lot of people don't. I personally liked it a lot, and I thought the gameplay was great. However, I really don't like the Great Sea. It takes way too long, and if you reach the end of the map, that's it. You gotta turn around. It does not loop. As well as to find the map, you kind of have to pay for it every single time. So, in general, I did not like just time spent on the boat, because you also had to change the wind every time you wanted to change the direction. That was just a huge pain. But fighting big octos was badass, I gotta admit. And any of the ground combat was just amazing. It was really good. So I'm kind of split between this, but overall I'd say I like it. Just a bit tedious. Shenmue on the Dreamcast. I don't have the case for it, so I'm not going to show it to you, but you're just going to have to trust me on this one. I played Shenmue around this summer, and I wanted to see what all the hype was about. I really wanted to know what made this game so great and why people cared about it so much. Well, basically, you got to consider the time period. It was around 2000. N64 and PlayStation were in full swing, so that's the time period you got to think of. This game had so much detail and personality crammed into it. while I don't consider it so much a game, like I would compare it like to Heavy Rain as much as that's a game. It's more about all the details in each individual area. Like you can pretty much, if you can open it, there's pretty much stuff inside it. Is graphics for anything. You can talk to anybody, and while that may not be impressive now, this takes place way before Grand Theft Auto and God of War and all those other games where graphics were amazing. So like the graphics for this game for the time were really impressive. You can talk to anybody, and you can do just a ton of mini games and fetch quests. And I personally thought the game was okay. I wouldn't call it the most fun game on the Dreamcast. However, I would call it memorable and a combination between an arcade game and an RPG. While many people may not agree with that, that's kind of the impression it left on me. Fighting game, arcade game because all the way you fight, because it's a lot like Virtua Fighter in terms of the actual combat, and RPG in terms of how the story progressed. Very unique experience. I'm ashamed to admit this, but Mega Man 3. After owning this game for years and years, I've never actually beat it until this year. Mostly because when I was a kid, I was never good enough to beat this game. But then, eventually I played other games and moved past my NES and just didn't come back to it. But I found this along with my old NES like Christmas 2 years ago, and I finally got around to beating it. And I kind of miss that in other games. You can't really use Rush to go anywhere you want. You jump on your robot dog Rush, and you can pretty much fly anywhere. You can fly in circles, you can fly straight up, but that kind of broke the game considering how much easier that would make the game. But this is probably my most nostalgic video game other than Super Mario Bros. 1 and 3.